Your plant is not dying randomly. Every yellow leaf, every brown tip, every sudden drop is a message. Here are 6 of the most common ones, and exactly what to do about each. Yellowing across the entire plant at once almost always means the roots are involved. Not just the oldest leaves at the base, but widespread yellowing across multiple leaves simultaneously. The most common cause is overwatering. Not one single event, but a pattern of watering before the soil has dried enough, repeated over weeks until the root zone stops getting the oxygen it needs. Stop watering immediately. Take the plant out of its pot and look at the roots. White or light tan and firm, healthy. Brown, soft, mushy or foul-smelling, root rot. Use clean scissors, sterilize with rubbing alcohol, and cut every damaged root away, cutting back until you reach tissue that is white and firm inside. Be decisive. Leaving any dead material attached gives the rot a direct path back into the healthy roots you have saved. Let the remaining roots air dry for 30 to 60 minutes before repotting. Putting wet roots straight back into fresh soil recreates the saturated conditions that caused the problem. The drying time allows cut surfaces to begin callousing, reducing the chance of reinfection. Repot into fresh dry mix, standard potting soil with 1 part perlite to 2 parts soil, in a pot with drainage holes. Water lightly once to settle the soil around the roots, then leave it completely undisturbed for a full week. To prevent it, push your finger 2 centimeters into the soil before every single watering. Still damp? Wait. A wooden chopstick inserted to the base of the pot and pulled out clean tells you the soil is dry enough. If soil clings to it, moisture is still present. Reduce watering significantly in autumn and winter. Plants in lower light consume a fraction of the water they need in summer. Brown crispy tips are one of the most searched plant symptoms online, and one of the most consistently misdiagnosed. Most people assume it is a watering problem and adjust how often they water. In most cases, neither change helps because brown tips are not caused by watering volume. They are a sign that the leaves are losing moisture through their surfaces faster than the roots can replace it. A gap created by air quality, not soil conditions. The 3 most common triggers are heating or air conditioning vents, low ambient humidity, and fluoride accumulation from tap water. Start with placement. If the plant is within 2 meters of any air vent, even if it is not pointing directly at the plant, dry air currents are likely stripping moisture from leaf edges continuously. Move it to a stable position away from any air source. This single change resolves chronic brown tipping in many cases. If humidity is the issue, and in most heated homes in winter it is, group your plants together. Grouped plants share the moisture they release through transpiration, raising local humidity meaningfully above the ambient room level. A pebble tray filled with water placed beneath the pot adds gentle continuous evaporation directly beneath the plant without wetting the roots. For the most sensitive plants, calathea, ferns, maranta, a small humidifier running for a few hours each day is the most reliable fix. For fluoride, leave tap water in an open container overnight before using it. Chlorine dissipates within 12 hours. Fluoride does not dissipate. For sensitive plants like peace lilies, calathea, spider plants, and dracena, rainwater or filtered water is the long-term answer. The brown tips already there will not reverse, but new growth will come in clean once the cause is addressed. I make one of these complete breakdowns every week. Every root problem, every soil mistake, every leaf symptom. If you want to actually understand what's happening with your plants instead of just guessing, subscribe. It's all free and it's all in this same format. A plant wilting while the soil is wet is the most serious condition on this list, and the most dangerous one to misread. The instinct when a plant wilts is to water it. If the soil is already wet when you check, acting on that instinct will accelerate the damage rather than reverse it. What is happening is root failure. The roots have been destroyed by anaerobic bacteria and water molds that colonize root tissue when soil stays saturated for too long. Once those roots are gone, the plant cannot move water upward regardless of how much is in the soil. The leaves wilt not from drought, but from an inability to access water that is right there. Adding more water removes more oxygen from the soil and gives the bacteria exactly the conditions they need to continue spreading. Take it out of the pot immediately. Rinse the roots under room temperature water so you can see them clearly. Cut away everything dark, soft, rotten or foul smelling. Even if it appears to be most of the root system, a small cluster of healthy white roots can regenerate. A plant with very few healthy roots has a better chance of recovery than one with many damaged roots still attached. Soak the remaining roots in a solution of 1 part 3% hydrogen peroxide to 3 parts water for 5 minutes. This sounds drastic. It is not. It is a standard horticultural treatment, and it will not harm any healthy tissue. Air dry for at least 1 hour before repotting. Repot into completely dry, fresh, sterile mix in a pot only slightly larger than the remaining roots. An oversized pot holds moisture the struggling root system cannot absorb, and the cycle begins again. Wait 2 full weeks before watering. To prevent it, never let a pot sit in standing water. Empty drip trays within 30 minutes every time. Terracotta pots reduce the risk because moisture evaporates through the porous walls, shortening the time soil stays wet after watering. Brown or black spots with a yellow ring around them are fungal infection. The yellow halo is not random discoloration. It is the boundary between cells the fungus has already killed and the living tissue the plant is actively defending. The plant is fighting the infection in real time, and the halo marks exactly where that fight is happening. Remove every affected leaf immediately and completely. Do not leave partial leaves thinking the green portion will recover. The fungal mycelium has already spread into tissue that looks unaffected, working outward invisibly from the visible spots. Cut cleanly at the base of the stem using sterilized scissors. Bag the removed material and discard it in the bin, not a compost pile. Fungal spores are airborne, and a contaminated compost heap will reinfect the same plant or spread to others when disturbed. Change how you water. Move to base watering only. Pour water at the base of the plant directly onto the soil surface, or place the pot in a shallow tray and let the soil draw moisture upward. Both methods keep leaf surfaces completely dry. Wet leaf surfaces are the primary germination environment for fungal spores. Remove that condition and you remove the fungus's ability to spread to new tissue. Improve airflow around the plant. Move it away from walls and other plants. Still, humid air is the ideal environment for fungal spread. Gentle movement across the leaves disrupts it. For established infections, apply diluted neem oil to all leaf surfaces, including undersides. 2 milliliters per liter of water with a few drops of dish soap, every 7 days for 3 consecutive weeks. 3 weeks is the minimum. The cycle targets spores that have not yet germinated as well as active growth. To prevent it, water in the morning so surface moisture evaporates during the day. Never miss plants in still air or that have previously shown fungal symptoms. Dry leaves and good airflow are your prevention. Sticky coating on leaf surfaces is honeydew, waste excreted by sap-sucking insects feeding on the plant right now. Aphids, scale, mealybugs, or whiteflies are the most common culprits. The stickiness is the evidence. The insects are the problem. Identify which one before you treat because the approach differs. Aphids are soft-bodied insects, usually green, black, or pale, that cluster on new growth and leaf undersides near the growing tips. They reproduce fast. Remove them physically first with a damp cloth or gentle rinse under lukewarm water, then spray with diluted castile soap, a few drops per liter of water, applied to every surface, especially leaf undersides. Repeat every 5 days for at least 3 applications. Scale insects look like small, immobile brown or tan bumps attached directly to stems and leaf undersides. Their waxy shell makes sprays less effective, so physical removal comes first. Press a cotton swab soaked in rubbing alcohol against each individual scale firmly. The alcohol dissolves the protective coating and kills on contact. Follow with neem oil spray weekly for 3 weeks. Mealybugs appear as white cottony clusters at stem joints and in tight growing points. Direct alcohol on a cotton swab applied to each cluster individually is the most effective physical treatment. Follow with neem oil spray across the whole plant, including the soil surface. Mealybugs sometimes establish in the root zone as well. After treating, wipe every leaf surface with a damp cloth to remove honeydew residue. Any black sooty mold growing on it will clear naturally once no new honeydew is deposited, but wiping it away speeds up light recovery to the leaf surface. To prevent it, quarantine every new plant for 2 weeks before introducing it to your collection. A monthly leaf wipe down catches early infestations before they establish. When leaves drop suddenly while still green and apparently healthy, the plant is not in crisis, it is managing one. It is deliberately shedding leaf mass to reduce its water demand while its root system adjusts to a stress event. Repotting, being moved, temperature shock, or arriving from a nursery are the most common triggers. The most important thing to understand is that intervention is usually the wrong response. Do not fertilize. Do not repot again. Do not move it to try a different position. Every change resets the adaptation process the plant has already begun. Each restart costs energy the plant needs for recovery. What it needs is stability, its intended location, consistent conditions, and time. Water lightly and infrequently for the first 2 to 3 weeks, enough to keep the soil from drying completely, but not enough to saturate it. The plant will direct its energy toward root repair and re-establishment during this period. New leaf production resumes once the root system has recovered enough to support it. If the drop occurred after moving to lower light, there is an additional layer to understand. Leaves built in brighter conditions are metabolically expensive to maintain in lower light. They were constructed for an environment that no longer exists, and the plant cannot justify the energy cost of keeping them. New leaves grown in the new position will be built specifically for that light level and will be better suited than the ones that dropped. The plant is recalibrating. Allow it to complete that process. Consistent temperature matters during recovery. Cold drafts from open windows or doors are a frequent trigger for additional leaf drop during an already stressed period. Keep the plant away from temperature fluctuation while it is adjusting. To prevent it, transition plants gradually between significantly different light levels, spend a few days in an intermediate position. Repot in spring at the start of the growing season. Give any environmental change 4 full weeks before deciding further action is needed. 6 problems. Let's bring it together. Yellow all over with wet soil. Root rot. Unpot. Cut the rot. Repot dry. Brown tips. Air quality. Move from vents. Raise humidity. Change the water. Wilting despite wet soil. Root failure. Do not water. Act immediately. Dark spots with yellow halos. Fungal infection. Remove leaves. Base water only. Neem oil. Sticky leaves. Sap-sucking pests. Identify, treat with alcohol, follow with neem oil. Green leaf drop, adjustment, do nothing, give it 4 weeks. Every one of these problems has a clear cause and a clear fix. The only thing that makes them hard is not knowing what to look for. Now you do. If your plant is showing something specific and you are not sure which of these it is, describe it in the comments. I read every single one and I will help you figure out what is going on. Subscribe if you want to keep learning this way. New breakdown every week.